Hello, everybody, and welcome again to another Facebook Live broadcast of San Antonio in black, white, and brown. We call our Facebook broadcast Transcendent. We call it Transcendent because we look to take the conversation beyond the normal boundaries. Try to give um, a Christ-centered or a bibliocentric perspective on the issues of the day, but a very practical bibliocentric perspective, something that upon which you can act as a believer and as a person of goodwill. You can act on these things and move forward with them and be a blessing to your own community. Thanks for joining me today. I'm in a series of exposés, if you will, concerning the upcoming Freedom Walk that will take place here in our city on January the 14th, 2023, beginning at Lincoln Park and ending in MLK Park. I will tell you about that in a moment, and there's some exciting things attached to that I want to communicate to you as well. But before I get into those sections, talking really about milestones number 3 and 4 tonight, I'll explain what that is in a moment. I want to enlist your partnership with us here at SABWB. I got a bag full of, bags of gifts are popular this time of year. And I want to give you a bag with SABWB, as you see on in my hand here. SABWB has this nylon bag with its name on it. And inside that bag that I want to give you are gifts. The first of which is this. This is a koozie. You hold it upside down and put your cold drink in it so your hand doesn't get wet and you don't sweat. Your glass doesn't sweat and wet your hands up, nor will it wet the table up because you have a bottom on your koozie as well. Want to give that to you. We also want to give you something that will be very important for you in days to come. I want to give you a coffee cup. It also has SABWB on it. You see that our motto is also on the cup: San Antonio in black, white, and brown, shaping the culture through prayer and action. Shaping the culture through prayer and action. That will become important. All this comes in the gift package that you see on your screen. This will be super important to you because we are soon, SABWB will soon be partnering with Be Easy Coffee, and we'll be bringing premium organic coffee from the motherland of coffee, which is Africa. It's found first in Ethiopia. But this particular mountain range in the nation of Rwanda is known for its high grade of coffee. Also in Malawi, we're working with over 700 farmers there in Malawi. And so there's a great supply of organic coffee coming straight out of organic ground where it is grown. And you and I will be able to grab a hold to it here. SABWB will you can actually purchase your bags of coffee. And as you purchase coffee, you're also supporting ministry and supporting this ministry, and you're supporting those farmers on the other side of the world to lift them, because SABWB is partnering with Be Easy Coffee for the purpose of lifting the nations of Rwanda and the nation of Malawi, the nations of Rwanda and Malawi, to a new place in many ways, to lift them to a new place economically, to lift them to a new place spiritually, to lift them to a new place culturally. And you help us do that while you're fueling the ministry of San Antonio in black, white, and brown. So you're helping your own city while you're doing things across the world. And you're going to need your coffee cup to enjoy that. While you're enjoying your coffee, I have water in mine tonight, but while you enjoy your coffee, I want you to do two things. I want you to do one thing, actually. Read 2 books. These 2 books are written by the late, great Alan Vincent. I began the reading of this one, and it just details in such a personal and readable manner how God used him and his wife Eileen to literally shake the nation of India. And there are churches still being. Alan is in heaven now. He went to be with the Lord probably it was right at the COVID time, 2020. He went to be with the Lord. Here we are 2 years later. and yet the work that God has given him to do and his wife to do is still being perpetuated in the earth. And I want you to enjoy and grow from, as I do, grow from reading and gaining principle and getting understanding on how you and I can move forward in the things of God ourselves. These books are invaluable to me, and I know they will be to you too. This one right here moves you from being a passive Christian to understand the spiritual dynamic that's happening around you and what part you play in shaping history through prayer and fasting and through the exercise of the authority that you have in God and moving the kingdom forward. The kingdom at war. There is the kingdom of God and there is the kingdoms of this world. But the revelation tells us that the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdom of our God and of his Christ. So we win. This just simply tells you how to win that battle, giving you some instruction and some enlightenment on the things that are written in the Word of God. And all of it comes, as I said, in your nice handy backpack. You can use it for these items, or you can put whatever you want to put in that plastic bag and let it be a blessing to you. Thank you so much for partnering with us each week. And we want to give you that opportunity because SABWB is a leadership space, a space where influencers from every race, position, and perspective come together for two main purposes. One is to build trusting relationships, and two, to collaborate both on the value and the implementation of principles that shape the culture. The culture is being shaped, whether you and I like the way it's being shaped or not. If we don't like it, we should be actively involved in it. If we do like it, we should be actively involved in it to enhance it. So either to alter its course or to enhance its course, but you and I should be people who are eagerly involved. And we also know that what we're experiencing, we're going to have to pass on to the next generation that is coming up behind us. And so we live with that consciousness here at SABWB. And thank you for being a partner with us in doing it. I want to take you now to a very beautiful announcement concerning a $15K matching gift that SABWB has received. And I want to give you an opportunity to do that. You will see as we roll through tonight and as we roll through the months ahead, how important it is that your partnership moves this ministry forward. And I need your partnership, and you need what the assignment that is on my life. So we have mutual need and we have mutual respect one for another. But watch this video announcing a $15,000 matching challenge gift that we received here at SABWB, and I'll come back and give you some instruction right after that. Hello, San Antonio. I have exciting news to share with you. A private donor has stepped forward and granted SABWB a $15,000 challenge gift. This offers you and me the opportunity to match that donor's generosity, turning the 15K into 30K. We have a lot to do in 2023, and we need all hands on deck. So whatever you can give to help match this challenge gift, 10, 50, 100, 500, whatever it is that you can do, perhaps your year-end tax-deductible giving can go toward SABWB this year and help match that 15K gift. That would be an incredible blessing to our city. Thank you in advance for helping. God bless you. I will see you at the finish line, turning 15K into 30K. Thank you so much for your participation in that. And there's tons of reasons why your partnership with SABWB moves the purposes of God forward in our city. And I'm excited about it. Excited to tell you about it. We have the upcoming Freedom Walk. Please circle your calendars now. January the 14th, 2023, the Freedom Walk. We're not in competition with the city or the city's MLK March, which will happen on Monday the 16th. I encourage you to go to that if you continue to do so. We're not trying to offer you an alternative. This is a new item on the celebration menu for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and for what his life has done to impact our lives. It's a new item on the menu. I will likely be doing a lot of walking over that weekend. because there's some things emerging that we have an opportunity to take part in. I'm so glad that you can take part in this new menu of the Freedom Walk. It's on the 14th. It's on Saturday, the 14th. Saturday, the 14th, allowing us an opportunity to gather at Lincoln Park. We already have the park permits for both Lincoln Park and for MLK Park. We're going to start at Lincoln, in and MLK, and I'll tell you a little bit about that as our program goes on tonight. But I wanted to just give you an opportunity to know just of some of the things that are moving ahead. While we're in a holding pattern right now, at the request of Mario Murillo's ministry, we had actually gotten a date from them, October 26th, 23rd through the 26th of 2023, to host a tent revival here in our city. We later got a call from his office saying that he's going to put San Antonio on hold. So we're on hold until we know more definitely when and how we're going to execute the Mario Murillo tent revival here in the city of San Antonio. But there's a lot. I'm saying that only to say that there's a lot to be done to get leaders on the same page, influencers from every race, every position, and every perspective, to get us on the same page and having the same conversation to create the city that fulfills the destiny and the purpose that is upon it, to create the environment that facilitates the fulfillment of that destiny and purpose. This is what God has mantled my life and your lives as we together walk it out at SABWB. San Antonio in Black, White, and Brown is so named because we take stock, we take value in this notion that you and I share values that transcend our color, the color of our skin. We share in values that bring us together, not emphasizing the nuances that might pull us apart. So thank you for being with me tonight. And I want to engage you in what we know to be the prayer engine, the thing that drives us to a place of success with SABWB and any spiritual endeavor is prayer, that you will be able to join us every Friday right here in our offices. I love these offices. Right here at 8023 Vantage Drive, Suite 313. You can come and join us live on Friday mornings at 10 a.m. Our former executive director, Natalie Hardy, normally hosted our I Pray God assignment, and she is no longer our executive director. Still have much love and great respect for who she is as a woman of God. But our I Pray experience will continue every morning, every Friday morning at 10 o'clock right here. And there are others that have come along and filled in the gap. I'm sorry, I'm telling you, God has his hand on this assignment, and people are moving with us, in concert with us, to see the glory of God revealed. In fact, I want to introduce to you tonight one of those that will from time to time be leading our prayer effort. Her name is Kathy Carizales, and she's a woman of prayer. I prayed with her last Friday. I had not done that before, but I was refreshed by the depth of prayer and prayerful insight. Some people, they pray their emotions, they pray all kinds of stuff. But this lady prayed the word of God and took her authority that she has in the spirit and began to exercise it. And I'm so grateful for it. We were praying all last Friday on this Freedom Walk. We're praying about the Freedom Walk. There's a lot going into this, guys. That's why there's so much energy being placed in the direction of it. And so Kathy Carizales cut a witness. I'm sorry, she cut a video for us for the I Pray experience, and we will show that to you next week. My producer's telling me that Natalie is going to do it again for us tonight. So here's Natalie Hardy introducing for the last time the I Pray experience, and I'll be right back right afterwards.
Hello, my name is Natalie Hardy from SABWB, San Antonio in Black, White, and Brown. Every Friday morning at 10 a.m., we are at this table seeking the face of God on behalf of our city. And if you didn't know that, I wanted you to know so that you can tune in with us and pray with us, whether we do it on that same time or after the fact, and look at a broadcast and pray with us after the fact. Every voice counts. So join with us on Friday mornings, and we look forward to praying with you. Bless you. Bye-bye.
And so I want to remind you that you can join that experience live every Friday at 10 a.m. right here in our offices and pray with us in the I Pray experience. We believe in the power of prayer to drive things forward in the spirit and grant us the level of success we know we must have in order to fulfill the purposes of God as He's given it to us, and as He's given it to us in conjunction with your faith and how we move the ball forward in the name of Jesus. So thank you so much for being with us. Now, I want to take a quick moment to recap last week's uh, framework so it gives you some logical movement through the Freedom Walk. Last week, I gave a couple of upfront things for you, and I'm going to be calling on the producer to put some things on the screen in relationship to this. I told you that this is a massive undertaking and requires somewhat of a small volunteer army to pull it off. So on our website at sabwb.org, there is a volunteer banner that you can click on. You can click on that volunteer banner, and there's a drop-down window there that tells us where you want to volunteer. There are a number of places where you can volunteer. In fact, I think there is a volunteer video there that will tell you all of that as well. But you can go to our website at sabwb.org, click on the volunteer banner, select the drop down, and it will give you an opportunity uh, to tell us where you want to volunteer. We need actors and actresses, ambassadors, uh, Freedom Walk ambassadors. We need those who help manage the setup of tables. We're already getting people who want to partner with us and put up a table at the end. I'm so glad that that's already happening. Uh, so if you want a table at the end of it, there's a way you can do that. I'll tell you before we get off the broadcast tonight. In fact, it'll be a commercial on the Freedom Walk booths commercial that I'll show you tonight to get you ready to get your booth out there if you want in an audience of people who are like-minded to put forth your ideals and to put forth your uh, values that you have for the folks, for the population. You can go to our website and click on uh, the Freedom Walk booths, and you'll get some information on that. I'll cover that with you in more detail in just a minute. So here's what I want to do now. Um, I want to kind of review with you last week what we covered with you last week here concerning the Freedom Walk. Again, the date is 14th of January, 2023. Parking has been reserved for you at the Freeman Coliseum, which is just minutes away, and also at St. Philip's College, which is also just minutes away. When you register, registration is free. But when you register, you will get an email back to you telling you where you will park, either at the Freeman or at St. Philip's College. You'll be picked up from those two locations and bused to the beginning location, which is Lincoln Park. And at Lincoln Park is our first of four milestones. The Freedom Walk has four milestones that we will cross. In our last broadcast, I was telling you about milestones numbers 1 and 2. Milestones numbers 1 and 2. We talked about them last week. I encourage you to go to our YouTube channel, look at last week's broadcast, refer it to others, share it out, get the information, like, comment, share. That helps. I understand from the tech gurus of the world that helps break the algorithms, and make sure that our information is out there where more people can see it and get a hold of it. And it's important for you to know that, and it's important for your friends to know it. So please like and comment, and then share on your own platforms so that people can get a hold of this information. The video that I'm going to show you now is about the upcoming Freedom Walk. I want you to take a quick look at this, and I'm going to come back and tell you some things about it, and then we're going to start talking about the milestones tonight in tonight's broadcast. So here's a video about the upcoming Freedom Walk, and I'll be right back right after the video is done.
SABWB was going to have a march anyway, because we believe that it is not the right of the city to tell its population when it will march and when it will not, and when it will celebrate and when it will not. It is the right of a free people to make such determinations for themselves.
We are blessed to live in this country, even though it has faults and everything. Look at us here today. All the races and people gathered together with a common cause. Amen?
Above solid facts and inflated stats, beyond political comparisons and slanted narratives, beyond anything that seeks to bring division between our sisters and our brothers, we have pledged allegiance to the kingdom over our country, our culture, our comfort, and our skin color, and we will rise.
I have a dream today that one day even the state of Mississippi will be transformed to a beautiful oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day my 4 little children will live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
What will happen when America sees that blacks and whites and reds and yellows and browns are pulling together in the city of San Antonio and have transcended above political lines?
Well, we are glad that you had an opportunity to take a look at that. That was last year's Freedom Walk. From that video, you can see that there are a host of people, black, white, brown, all races, all leadership positions, participating in the upcoming Freedom Walk. Now, this year, we've gotten the word out in a lot broader stance by playing a video that I'm going to show you in a moment that's begun to be played in churches around the city this past weekend. And I've sent it out to several other churches this week that will be playing hopefully in their congregations or on their social media platforms, so that the whole of the city of San Antonio knows about the upcoming Freedom Walk. I want you to recognize it when you see it. All week long, all month long, really, we're going to be pushing stuff out of this office onto social media platforms to let you know about it. But be on the lookout for this upcoming video playing in your church regarding the Freedom Walk. Here it is. Every year in January, the city of San Antonio plays proud host to the largest MLK march in the country. But in January 2023, a new celebration is on the menu, second annual Freedom Walk. It'll take place January 14th, 2023. Our theme is from proclamation to legislation to manifestation. Parking has been secured for you at the Freeman and at St. Philip's College, and you'll be bused from there to Lincoln Park. We begin at Lincoln Park in honor of Abraham Lincoln, who proclaimed liberty to the captives, slaves in America with the Emancipation Proclamation, and we'll end at MLK Park honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who fought to secure the landmark civil rights legislation. The walk is on under 2 miles, largely on flat ground. Everyone at every age can enjoy the walk. Together, we will experience 4 milestones on our walk, which will leave you thrilled and motivated to manifest the dream that others have begun and gave their all to achieve. There are some things you will not experience. No politicians will make stump speeches. No political parties will push their political agenda. There'll be no race baiting, no indoctrination. The Freedom Walk will focus on the life and the message of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and how we can work together to achieve that dream in our city and in our generation. Registration is free, but please register because you will get an email providing information on where you will park. Come walk with me. So if you put your phone over that little QR code at the bottom of that emblem, it'll take you right to where you can register for the walk. And again, registration is free. We only require registration so that you will know in what venue you're going to park, either at the Freeman Coliseum or at St. Philip's College. We anticipate thousands of people this year, so it would be important for you to get that registration done. Get that registration done. You heard me say in the commercial that there are 4 milestones. We covered 2 of the 4 milestones last week. Milestone number 1. Milestone number 1 is called the proclamation. Milestone number 1 is the proclamation. We call it the proclamation because it is the milestone where we will refresh our knowledge that while our nation was embroiled in the bitterness of slavery and a war that was being fought around that issue, Abraham Lincoln, our 16th president, wrote something called the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing the slaves, giving them, obviously, a vested interest in the outcome of the war. Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, these began to recruit Black people into the Union forces, and they fought vehemently for their freedom. And freedom, their freedom could not have been won without their participation. And so you're going to hear the Emancipation Proclamation being read. You are going to see an enactment, a very brief enactment of the Revolutionary War. I'm sorry, not the Revolutionary War, but the Civil War. And then you will hear our Abraham Lincoln actor also give the Gettysburg Address. Very powerfully written, very powerful, moving documents. That will happen at the first milestone, which is at Lincoln Park, where we start. Then we will leave there and go down Commerce Street to a position on Commerce just in front of Second Baptist Church. And there, Second Baptist and its educational building, the great pastor Jemison leads that flock. That church and building will provide the perfect backdrop for our second milestone, which is the reclamation. The reclamation. Now, what does that mean? It's the second milestone. The second milestone is called the reclamation. The second milestone is called the reclamation. The second milestone, the reclamation. And we're calling it the reclamation in order to incite the church to reclaim its voice. We have surrendered that voice to social activists. And if anyone should be socially active, it should be the body of Christ. Our textbook, if you will, in executing the Freedom Walk is the autobiography of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. If you have not read this, I highly encourage you to read it. It will stir your very soul to see that God raised up a man and raised up a movement to turn back the tide of racism and segregation and all kinds of things that held the slave of African American descent of African descent, held them down and brutally treated them, not only from the days of slavery, but you remember when the war ended in 1865, the slaves were freed, but we have another 100 years. First, the first 12 years was known as the Reconstruction. And after, in 1877, when that ended, the onslaught of Jim Crow and those things led all the way up to the late 1950s, where Dr. King and others began to move. We're not talking about ancient history, folks. I was born in 1960. This civil rights movement was passed in 1964. I was on the earth. We're not talking about ancient history. We're talking about something that has happened in your time and in my time, and what we need to do to keep moving that forward. Because what you don't keep moving forward, you will let slip, and it will start to repeat itself. In fact, it already has begun to repeat itself in many ways. So, but there are those many more of us who are vigilant enough about what has happened not to let that continue. So I'm totally thankful that you and I have this opportunity to celebrate this new item on the menu. Again, we are not in competition with the city. We're not trying to do something to give the city any competition. Continue to do the MLK march that the city puts on. Continue to do that. That's awesome. This is a new item on the menu where you can get some accurate historical rendering of where we have come from as a people, the price that others paid at that site, that second site milestone called the Reclamation. We're reclaiming our voice, and you'll be reminded that it was churches that were bombed. It was spiritual leaders that were lynched and hung. It was the spiritual community of faith that was ridiculed because they knew where the pressure was. The pressure came from the people of God. The pressure was applied against the status quo of that day, and that divine pressure broke the status quo and freed the people. And we are in such a need again for the same entity, the Church of the Lord Jesus Christ, to reclaim its place and reclaim its voice. That's what that second milestone is about. But I want to take time, and you can go back, as I said, to our YouTube channel and look more thoroughly at those two milestones that we covered last week. But I want to jump into this third and fourth milestone with you, which I'll do right after this commercial. I'll be right back. Hello, everyone. I'm Charles Flowers, your host for Transcendent. Transcendent is SABWB's online weekly broadcast aired here on Influence's platform. Join me and other key leaders from various pillars of influence which shape the culture of San Antonio for innovative and strategic dialogue. Each week, we will address core community values and principles that need to be restored and re-implemented into our culture of our great city. This may often necessitate identifying where these values and principles are being compromised and reflecting on the damaging impact that such actions may have if left unaddressed. But ultimately, we want to take the conversation beyond ordinary limits, exceed the normative boundaries, and implement bold, time-tested principles across the pillars of influence in our city, which will result in the positive transformation of the culture. I look forward to visiting with you each week here on Transcendent. All right, so yes, make sure that you are here each week and that you tell others that you're here also, because this upcoming event in terms of the Freedom Walk, it's going to be culturally altering. I believe that it will be a culture altering event. There is a responsibility on the people of God to alter the culture by the love and the power of the Holy Spirit. And we're taking the gloves off, so to speak, to get that done January 14th, 2023. So I want to talk to you about milestones number 3 and 4. Milestone number three is the mobilization. The mobilization. It will be a reenactment of what happened on the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma and in 1965. I'm sorry, yes, 1965. And I want to read to you something really quick. This chapter is entitled Selma. What we have drawn from in order to produce the Freedom Walk. In large part, the content has come from this book, the autobiography of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. His autobiography means it's in his words. This is not something that someone wrote about him. These are in his words. And here's what he says about Selma. And Selma was about the vote. The Civil Rights Act had already been passed. That landmark legislation passed in 1964. This took place March 7th, 1965. And it dealt with the right to vote. The right to vote. What they were marching for was no longer public accommodations that they could sit in the restaurant and eat, or they could walk into certain businesses and require that service be rendered to them. Those battles had been fought. They were now moving forward to make significant change and gain access to the all powerful ballot box if the people, the will of the people, were going to be executed. I was reading something the other day concerning this. There were, I don't want to get the numbers wrong, but the slaves in the South numbered in the millions. The slaves in the South numbered in the millions. So those that held the power of the ballot box did not want the slaves to come to that box because their numbers were too great. I think it was a total of 9 million. Somebody can fact check me here. A total of 9 million in the South, and 5 of that 9 million were slaves. There were more slaves in the South than there were slave masters and their families. There were more slaves. But when that war was over and people those things began to change, and we fast forward 100 years. We're at the Pettus Bridge now, Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, and here's what Dr. King describes as the ugly pattern of denial. The pattern of denial depended upon 4 main roadblocks. You're going to see these 4 main roadblocks. There was the Gestapo-like control of county and local governments, the Gestapo-like control of the county and local governments. Are we seeing that again today? Is the local and the county government, are they unresponsive to you? Now, they're not keeping you from the vote now. They're toying with your vote and telling you that you have nothing to do or to say, or don't dare believe that they're not treating your vote properly. It's just the same spirit that they were dealing with in 1965. The first roadblock was Gestapo-like control of county and local governments. The second was, listen to this, city ordinances were contrived to make it difficult for the Black people to move in concert. It says that somebody at another level strategized to make sure that the people that wanted to move forward and wanted to do things collectively were hindered by doing so with city ordinances. Right here in our own city in 2013, our city council passed an ordinance that was directed at people of faith. They called it a non-discrimination ordinance. It was not that at all. In fact, it discriminated against people of faith so much so that written into the ordinance, they later took out only after pressure, but they took out of the ordinance that if if you did not agree with the city's definition of sexual orientation and gender identity in the way that you conducted your business, then you could not have contracts with the city. Or if you were found to be in violation thereof, you could be found $500 a day every day until you relented under the weight of that financial pressure. That happened right here in the city in 2013. Ordinances that were written to make it difficult for you and me, particularly as people of faith, to move and conduct business and to get the same level playing field with people, with other people who had other ideas about sexual orientation and gender identity. We were shut out of that if we didn't agree with the city's ordinances. They went on to pass it. They went on to pass it. Now, every once in a while, they try to expand the scope of that ordinance. They didn't need it to start with. There was nobody being discriminated against on those bases, and they didn't even write the ordinance. The city didn't write it. It came from the Human Rights Commission. So, but what we're seeing is that the same thing that was practiced then is being practiced now. Secondly, the city ordinances were contrived. Third, the third link in the chain of slavery was the slow pace of the registrar and the limited number of days and hours during which the office was open. Right now, we have means by which you can vote electronically. And when we were doing paper ballots, you could be done in a night. You could know in one night who won the election. Now it takes weeks and sometimes months because your vote is being toyed with. Your vote is being tampered with. And if you sit back and do nothing, I'm glad to say that at milestone number 3, which is the mobilization, that we have the chief of police and the president of the San Antonio Police Officers Association that will be participating, because you remember what happened at Edmund Pettus Bridge. The Freedom Walkers came across and there were dogs and hoses and all of that pointed negatively and hostilely toward them, clubs and cattle prods. All of that's going to be depicted with walkers coming up, the Freedom Walkers coming up the street, joining hands and singing the songs that the Freedom Walkers sang. And on a 16 by 9 foot digital screen, you're going to see reenacted what happened at the Pettus Bridge. And right before it gets to the point where there is hostility and brutality, our chief, our police chief, is going to yell, "Stop!" And then he's going to make the proclamation that within certain communities that he understands why there is both distrust and distance between the population and the police forces, because that is who they were. But Chief McManus will declare in bold detail that is not who they are. And you'll begin to see rolling across that same 16 foot by 9 foot screen every action, every motion that the city, San Antonio Police Department has taken to improve its relationship with our community, so we can stop being pushed and tugged to and fro by everybody who wants to make the city look bad. Cite every infraction of the law, and there are some bad actors in uniform. There are some bad preachers behind pulpits. There are some bad teachers in classrooms. There are some bad doctors in hospitals. You can't name a profession where you have not had people that have used their position and used their authority to abuse others. That is true with police as well. But it is not the vast majority of the people in uniform. In fact, you will see splattered across that 16 by 9-foot LED screen that this city is committed to make sure that no community is over-policed and that every community is treated fairly under the law, 14th Amendment of our Constitution. It's going to be quite educational for you. Milestone number 3 is mobilization. Now, before I get to milestone number 4, I want to tell you that at the end of milestone number 4, there will be a place for you to have a booth for your organization. If you're a church, you're a ministry, you're a business, and you have decided that freedom is worth fighting for, that there is some things in our community that's worth fighting for, and I have a message, and I have material, and I have things that I can put forth, and I want you to have a booth at the end of our Freedom Walk at milestone number 4. I'm going to ask the producer to put the video up now that gives you the right to select, that gives you the right to request a booth. We reserve the right at SABWB to make the final selection as to who will have an opportunity to set their booth up. But here's how you can get a booth. And as I said, those booths are already coming in. We know this because we looked at the data today. But here is your opportunity to have a booth at the end of milestone number 4 at the Freedom Walk on January the 14th. And I'll be right back and talk about that last milestone before we close our broadcast for the night. Hello, let me read you something from Dr. King's autobiography. It's concerning Miss Rosa Parks. On December 1st, 1955, Miss Rosa Parks refused to move when she was asked to get up to move back by the bus operator. Miss Parks was sitting in the first seat in the unreserved section. All of the seats were taken, and if Miss Parks had followed the command of the bus operator, she would have stood up and given her seat for a male white passenger who had just boarded the bus. In a quiet, calm, dignified manner, so characteristic of the radiant personality of Miss Parks, she refused to move, and the result was her arrest. One can never understand the action of Miss Parks until one realizes that eventually the cup of endurance runs over and the human personality cries out, "I can't take it any longer." Dr. King did a speech as a result of her arrest. He calls it the most decisive speech of his life. Here's what he says in a part of that speech. "We are here this evening for serious business. We're here in a general sense because first and foremost, we are American citizens and we are determined to apply our citizenship to the fullest of its meaning." The Freedom Walk is American citizens applying our citizenship to its fullest meaning. We are expressing an insatiable desire for freedom. If you are a business owner, a ministry leader, or if you're an organization whose quest it is to secure freedom for ourselves and our posterity, then we invite you to have a booth at the end of our walk, a booth at the end of the Freedom Walk. You can secure your booth by clicking the Freedom Walk booths banner on our website at sabwb.org. SABWB reserves the right to select from those of you who will make requests which booths will actually be approved and will actually be allowed to set up at the end of our walk, which will end in MLK Park. Please click the banner, Freedom Walk Booths, and join us at the end of the walk on January the 14th, 2023 for our second annual Freedom Walk here in San Antonio. Hope to see you there. Blessings to you. Bye-bye now. All right. All right. You saw the advertisement. If you want a booth, then go ahead and follow those directions and you'll be able to have one at the end of the walk. Now I want to talk to you about that last walk, milestone number 4. Milestone number 4 is called the manifestation. So we have the proclamation, milestone number 1. We have the reclamation, reclaiming our voice as the moral conscience of the culture. The church must be the moral. We cannot speak for someone. We must speak to everyone and speak the message that is consistent with moral consciousness, morality. We must regain our place, stop being duplicitous and song and dancing, trying to please everybody. That reclamation place is powerful. Then third will be probably the most emotive milestone of our walk will be the mobilization right there on the Commerce Bridge. And then finally, we will end our freedom walk in MLK Park. Ended in MLK with the manifestation, because we must manifest the dream. There's a lot of window dressing that modern day social constructors, architects, are putting in the window for people to see, but behind it, there is dangerous plans. Some of the window dressing that is now put up for people is what they call a new leadership and management tool and a new social order that's hinged upon diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's called DEI. If you rearrange those letters, it's DIE. Diversity, inclusion, and equity is DIE. Now I'll tell you, and we'll show this in bold relief, using the modern definition of those words, how destructive they can be, and they are intended to be, particularly to people of faith. But how do we embrace diversity, and not equity, but equality, diversity, equality, and inclusion from a biblical standpoint? How do we portray that in the way we live our private lives, in the way we construct our businesses, in the way that we operate in our faith? No person of faith is going to be against, this is why the words are being used, no person of faith is going to be able to be against being diverse, because God made us all. No person of faith is going to be able to be against being inclusive, because God died for us all. Nor we'll give some pushback concerning the issue of equality versus equity. Equity is largely being put forth as equal outcomes. Equality is equal opportunity. We're going to talk about that. And I'm glad to announce to you tonight that the Freedom Walk is one of the early events of Dream Week 2023. Dream Week has embraced the Freedom Walk, and we are going to continue the discussion even after the Freedom Walk is over, leading on into the months of the following month is Black History Month. There needs to be discussions that are had on very pertinent issues that are not isolated to the Black community, but lifts the whole community of San Antonio, lift the whole community to another place. And this Freedom Walk is the start of something powerful in our city. So let me just briefly recap with you before I close for tonight. Milestone number one, first of all, register. Go to our website, click on the Freedom Walk banner. Go to our website and click on the Freedom Walk banner. When you click on that banner, go ahead and register. Registration is free, but we will send you back an email letting you know which of the parking spaces that we have secured, either at the Freeman or at St. Philip's College, is where you will park. And when you park there, a bus will arrive, take you to the starting position at milestone number one. Milestone number one is the proclamation. There'll be some acting going on there. So if you want to be an actor, you want to be show your skill, your acting skill. I already have my Abraham Lincoln. I do need some generals, and I do need some guys on the battlefield because we're going to reenact the Battle of Gettysburg. At least a very small portion of it, obviously, just a snapshot of what took place there. But it will be gripping. It'll be very gripping. And you and I, now look, let me just say this in these final moments. I don't have deep pockets. This is going to cost probably in excess of $100,000 to do, because there are 4 different places where there'll be 16 feet by 9 foot screens up, and speakers and markers that there'll be 40 markers that give you something to read as you walk through. You'll be hearing songs on speakers that are pointed down the street as you're coming from one marker to the next. This is a grand thing, and I need the grand support in order to make it happen. I need grand support. This is what God has placed in my heart to do, and I'm tickled about it. Am I a little nervous about it? Yeah, I am, because I know what it takes. Look, you see what this is right here? What I have in my hand is the contract that with a lighting company, BP Lighting, Sound, and Video. They laid out for me. I took them over to the trade route, and I told them what I wanted to have. They went back to their offices, put their things back together, and gave this to me so that I would know what the associated costs were. Now, I've asked certain ministries and people to sponsor certain sites. What I'm asking you to do is for your continual partnership with SABWB allows us to break into culture shaping events like the Freedom Walk, and to see our city become everything God has ordained for it to be, and that people of goodwill can enjoy, and a place to live, a world-class city that we can live and grow in. And we don't have to wait on the okay of City Hall, or we don't have to wait on the okay of the state government or federal government. We are people who can come together, put our little resources together. Those of you who want to give toward that, please do. That contract that I just showed you is $70K, and so don't panic over it. I'm not. I believe God has given me a strategy to go forth and reach that. Part of that strategy is your partnership. Part of that strategy of making it happen. When you see this happen on the 14th of January, you will know that I had a part in that. I had a part in it. And I'm so thankful that you're willing to be a partner with SABWB. You can go to our website there and do partnership. You can go to Cash App. You'll find us at SABWB, $SABWB on Cash App. You'll find us on Venmo at SABWB. You can give by PayPal on our website. You can write us a check at 8023 Vantage Drive. In fact, there are some of you, for example, I've gone to some people in organizations and asked them about this already. So one of the sites, for example, the total cost for that one site is $7,681. Some of you can say, I can do that right now. There's the site number 2 is $4,100, $4,108. So I can do that. Some of you say, I can do that. This is the cause that's going to launch our city forward. And my year-end tax deductible giving can be pointed toward SABWB, and that'll make it happen. Another site is $4,012. Somebody says, I can do that. Well, you say, I can't do the whole thing, but I can do 100. Do 100. Do 5, do 10, do whatever it is you can do to make sure that this happens for the city of San Antonio on the 14th of January. I'm so excited because I know God is talking to your heart about it, even as I'm talking about it. And I've asked some organizations to come along and perhaps sponsor these, and I hope they do come through with that. So thank you so much for your partnership with SABWB in those ways. And I'm very grateful for it. You can see that volunteering, acting, being a part of our ambassadors, making sure that things are managed well at the final site at the MLK Park. By the way, there'll be food trucks there. Some of the best food trucks in our city will be lined up at that last spot. So your day is going to be so powerfully impacted on January the 14th. Put that day on your calendar now. And go to our website and click Freedom Walk and go ahead and register so you'll know where you can park, and you'll be bused to our starting place and we'll walk. It's less than under 2-mile walk, and it's largely on flat ground. You'll have a good time this year, and you'll be looking forward to it next year, because we're going to do something different every year that helps us to preserve our freedoms for ourselves and our posterity, and to make sure that we are the land of the free and the home of the brave, a people that honor God, and a people that live under the principles, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You'll be able to see that manifest through your partnership with SABWB. Thank you so much for doing it. And we will see you right here next week for SABWB's weekly Facebook broadcast called Transcendent. I love you big. Bye-bye now.